Yo, what's good, Josh? Your boy J Swab. I'm the host of J Swab TV. I got out the theater to watch this together movie about an hour ago, and I gotta say, this one was pretty decent. Now, I don't know about best horror movie of the year. I mean, Weapons does drop at the end of this week. They real bold putting this tagline out like they not dropping the week before Weapons. That shit is crazy. High key though, I'm just trying to put it in the air. The Weapons is scary because I need that. But if not, Conjuring drops the next month, so we gonna get some scares at some point this year. Now, despite the fact that the movie didn't necessarily scare me, it definitely had a lot of horror elements within it. It was an enjoyable watch throughout, so I'm just gonna talk about the movie real quick. If you like anything I gotta say in this video, you already know what you gotta do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. And let's talk about together. Off the bat, I gotta say, this movie takes the concept of the word together to a whole other level. This shit you see them doing with their hands down here, that's not even the half of what they get into with this together shit. Start off the movie with this search in this forest looking area. We later learn in the movie that this couple's been missing for quite some time now, so they looking for them clearly. But then we go to this lower part of the forest in this cavern looking place. It's like a hole in the ground. And we see these two dogs, they just chilling in there. My question is, why the hell did the dogs end up there? But based on what we see later in the movie with Dave Franco and Alison Brie's character, I'm assuming the dogs fell into the pit hole. Anyway, they're in there just assessing the scene, but they get thirsty, so they get to drinking the water in this little well looking area. And that was their biggest mistake. Eventually the dogs get saved, but they moving funny. They just staring at each other, they're not doing nothing, they being real tame. The shit quickly changed later that night when a man who saved the dogs goes to investigate the noise that they caused, and he sees these two dogs done fused together. I'm telling you, bro, that shit was nasty as hell. I felt so bad them dogs had to be in that position. They was literally living in each other's skin like nothing happened. I know the brother was traumatized. He didn't even want to lift his flashlight to see what was going on the other end of that cage. Anyway, we fast forward to the main events of the movie. We see our main characters, Tim and Millie, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie respectively. And we quickly get an idea of these characters' dynamics early on in the movie. We see Tim is trying to be out here still living his childhood dreams of being a rock star, while Millie's a teacher who's trying to be more realistic. She's the dominating force of the relationship. She's making the big moves throughout the movie and wants to see them settle down. Finally, because they've been together for like damn near 10 years apparently. Shit is so bad, she gets down on one knee and proposes to this man. I couldn't believe it myself, y'all. Then when she does it, he takes mad long to say I do. I mean, I get it. It's weird. Like, you're not used to seeing like a woman propose to the man. I know he wasn't expecting that too, which leads to this awkward conversation. Then they go back to the crib and it's even more awkward. Because bro talk about he drank too much, so he can't really give her what she need in that moment. And so the movie does a great job of giving us an early showing of their dynamic, and we'll see that evolve as the movie continues. Sometime after this, Millie goes to work and she's working with somebody named David. Now David, he seemed like a cool guy on the surface, but midway through the movie, I knew something was up with bro. The movie does a great job of pointing to Liquid a lot. Having the characters interact with Liquid, whether it's in the shower, whether it's in the environment around them through rain, or just drinking, being thirsty. Liquid is a recurrent theme in this movie, I'm trying to tell you. But like I said, David comes off as a cool guy in this first interaction between him and Millie. Somewhat flirtatious, looking like he want to move in on shorty, but she tells him, I got a boy, not friend, but more like a boy partner kind of vibe thing going on. So he leans back, but he says if she ever needs a tour around the little area that they live in, that he got her on the tour. See, when Millie gets home, my boy Tim is locked in on that music. See, Millie wants to spend some quality time with bro, but he got to get his part right for this gig that he got later on in the week. So he says, I'm not going to come to bed just yet, but we can go on that hike you've been wanting to go on tomorrow. So they do that. They start walking through the woods. It's all good, but the trail ends mad short. And to me, I wouldn't even be mad at that. I would have just turned around and enjoyed the walk back to the crib. But my son Tim just felt the need to satisfy his lady, and I can't be mad at him for that for real. He finds an opening in the woods, starts walking towards it, sees these bells around him. As they're walking this trail, it starts raining out of nowhere. I don't know why nobody didn't check their weather out before they went on this trail. They try to find their way back, but then Tim falls in this pit hole. Then Millie tries to grab him, but obviously that don't work, so she falls in with him. And now they're in a similar looking cavern to the one that we seen them dogs in earlier in the movie, but it can't be the same cavern. While in this cave, they start to get thirsty. I told you it's a recurrent theme in the movie. Dave pulls out this water bottle he has, and he has this empty bottle that he decides to fill with the water that's in the cave. Looking like the same area them dogs drank out of earlier on in the movie, but it can't be the same, y'all. Even if it's not the same, why on earth would you drink that dirty cave water? I don't care how thirsty I am. I'm swallowing my spit before I swallow that dirty cave water. He's tripping. But he fills his water bottle with this dirty cave water, gives some of it to Millie so that she don't die of thirst. Maybe get some more background on Tim's character. We learn that he lost his dad in a tragic accident. Seemingly he lost his mom not too long after that. It's all connected to this bad smell that he experienced back then and in the current events of this movie. You see early on in the movie, he has to pull these dead rats, these conjoined dead rats, this ceiling light, and it's just nasty as hell. I would have been asking how the hell did these rats end up like this? Mind you, one of them was alive too, just disgusting. Also see him call back to a nightmare he had earlier on in the movie where he sees his dad and mom in the bed across from the bed that he's sleeping in with Millie. It's all real freaky stuff, but it plays into what happens later on in the movie in the togetherness of this movie. So the next day they wake up, they're ready to exit the cave, but their legs are stuck together for some reason. It takes them a minute to do so, but they're able to separate, leaving a scar on their legs after the fact. And from here on, this is when the movie really gets started. We see weird shit going on. Starting with Tim, he's giving Millie a massage when they first get back from the cave. And it's like he's trying to get in her skin. So much so that she feels like he's ripping flesh off. Then she decides she's gonna go to the grocery store. She tells bro, hop in the shower, you must. So he gets in the shower, but as she's driving away, every turn that she takes in his car, my son is literally moving, bobbing and weaving in that shower, hurting himself. So after seeing this, I was like, okay, it's for sure the water that's impacting them in this way, where their actions are synced. And I'll say, even before they drink this water, the movie does a great job of showing the togetherness of these two. Not just in their relationship, but the way they walk so close together on that trail, and just the dependency that they have in one another. More so Tim and Millie than Millie and Tim. We see later on in the movie, Millie learn how she can depend on Tim going forward. And I like that dynamic. I like the fact that it felt like they were actually a couple going through a dire strait. Going through a crossroads in a sense where, yeah, Tim wants to live his own life and be the rock star he wanted to be when he was a kid. When Millie, on the other hand, just wants to settle down and start building a family. And for as wild as all this togetherness is in this movie, I gotta give the writers credit for how they're able to use this as a way to literally bring them together instead of just freaking out altogether. Because we've seen the after effects of not embracing the togetherness. We gonna talk about that. After his accident in the shower, we see Tim go to a doctor. He's prescribed these muscle relaxants that become a key part later on in the movie. You get David coming over for dinner, and it's kind of cool at first, but then it becomes awkward. Because Tim says he feels trapped in their relationship, not even being able to leave the crib really, because he don't even have his driver's permit. So we feel the scorn that he feels that he has to rely on Millie in this way. But it's also not that much better being in Millie's position either. She wants to be able to rely on Tim and not feel like she has to keep on picking up the pieces of his mistakes and his shortcomings. They're just not at that place in this point in time in the movie. I love how even through this bickering, David still acknowledges that they're a perfect match though. Like, they're perfect for each other. They go through their ups and downs, but at the end of the day, they literally complete each other. After this dinner scene, we see more weird shit happen. Tim and Millie try to get intimate, but then their lips get stuck together, which kills the mood entirely. And Millie brings up the fact that they ain't been intimate in some months, so Tim feeling some type of way. And they get into the bed. Millie wakes up with her hair in Tim's mouth, like deep throat damn near in his mouth. When she gives his man a ride to the train station the next day so that he can meet up with his bandmates so that they can perform at this gig he got, she is so happy. She's so excited to get a break from this dude. But we see that it's short-lived. As soon as she leaves, my boy has to be right back with her. If he got on that train, it would have been raps for bro. He links up with her after school, and just when she was about to give up on the relationship, it looks like bro came back to try to save it. So she embraces it, and it gets a hunching in the boys' bathroom. I ain't say men's bathroom, I said boys' bathroom. So when a young boy walks in there and sees them in the act, he gets David, because why am I hearing a girl crying behind the stove? It's the boys' bathroom. This is when I also got sus of David, because just when it looked like Millie was about to get away from her sexual encounter with Tim in this scene, he sees Tim stepping down. So in my head, I'm thinking David's gonna report her, she gonna lose her job, and that's gonna cause more strife between the two. But he doesn't do that. Why not? We have a conversation between Millie and David later on in the movie, where David tells Millie about this connection that people once had back in the day, but they were their full selves. Now we live as half of ourselves, and we just seek to find that other half so we can make a full connection. And to me, that was the icing on the cake. I knew bro was a weirdo after that shit. After another weird night between Tim and Millie, it's confirmed. Seen earlier on in the movie that not only is he aware that the pit that Millie and Tim fell into was actually a church back in the day, but he was a part of that church. And he is another together person. He and his mans from back in the day, they done did the ritual, so they're one entity now. I'm not gonna lie, this twist did get me. I had expected the missing couple to have eventually ended up being a together person. I thought David was one dude. He looks like himself in the picture. Millie barely is able to escape from his house with her life. While this is happening, we see Tim went back to the cave and he runs into the couple that went missing. Similar to what David says, you don't want to reject the togetherness, because if you do, you're going to end up looking like them. And somehow they looked uglier than the people that were in the hills have eyes. If you know, you know. Thankfully, he's able to get out of there with his life, steals the knife from the couple, and he's willing to end his life in order to preserve Millie. He gets down on one knee, similarly to how she did earlier on in the movie, professing his love to her, saying how he was nobody before he met her, basically saying he would gladly give his life in order to save her. As he's about to kill her though, Millie starts to suffer from the stab wound that she got from David. So Tim sacrifices his hand in order to save Millie rather than just live a life without her. That shit was beautiful, I ain't gonna lie. They end up becoming one unit, and by the end of the movie, Millie's parents come to visit her. It looks like Tim and Millie done did the fusion dance, I ain't gonna lie. That shit was crazy as hell. I can't even imagine what the parents would be thinking in that moment. Well, first watch, I give this movie a cool 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Definitely not the horror movie of the year in my opinion. Not only is it a movie that lives up to its title, I appreciate the emphasis of sticking with your person through good and bad times. Leave y'all thoughts in the comments though. What did y'all think about Together?